Hey, welcome back, my friends, to part 3 of sex. So, in its essence, receiving is the absence of resistance. And the absence of resistance is also the gateway to absolute peace. In part 1 and 2 of this series, we explored how your body, when truly open and relaxed, becomes an antenna and a compass, kind of showing you the most expedient and enjoyable path to your goals, to your desires. We also explored how your boundless body, when it's boundless, when it's activated, is essentially the gateway to the version of you that believes in and is coded for miracles, which is why I'm kind of doing this special, the March Money and Miracles, on my somatic mastermind right now, because for me, this work is about becoming the version of you in a really embodied way that knows that money and miracles are not just for others out there, they're for you. And one of the things I like to say is that your desires show you your destiny. Meaning, if you have a desire for something, then the only reason you have a desire for it is because it's literally part of your birthright. And what we're doing with this work is we're removing everything that's in the way of that, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about today in the process of releasing resistance. And we're coding, we're calibrating, rewiring our bodies, our brain, our belief system, our nervous system to be in alignment, to be a match for what we desire. So it's a little bit of a two-prong approach. We're removing resistance while we're also making sure that we're in complete alignment with what we want, including that our body and our nervous system is in complete alignment, that our identity is in complete alignment, because if not, we will create friction and blocks and sabotage the process. In part 1 and 2, we also explored how teaching the body that it is safe to feel good and making feeling good a priority as you go after and you accomplish your goals is the fastest way to release any of these sabotaging patterns. Essentially, what we have to do is, rather than going after what we want, accomplishing our goals, feeling heavy and hard and far away, we have to make it feel simple, nourishing, freeing, easeful, enjoyable. And that was the pathway of pleasure, the last training that we did. And the reason that is because the quality of your receivership, how good it feels, how good the process feels, directly impacts how willing you are to increase the quantity. So how good the process feels defines to some degree how much you allow yourself to create, to receive, and to have. So that's what we really explored in part 1 and 2. Today, we're going to dive in even deeper. We're going to talk more about the removing of what's in the way. And essentially, we're going to talk about how peace, being at peace, is actually a portal to more profits, and how releasing any kind of built-in tension, any kind of built-in armoring and resistance actually starts to expand your capacity to receive. What people don't understand is that most of us have been conditioned to live and to move through life from some level of pushback, some level of bracing, some level of armoring, some level of resistance. And we literally have built-in tension lodged in our body, in our muscles, in our tissues, even sometimes in our joints, like from wounding, traumas, disappointment, humiliation from the past, as well as kind of the way we're wired. Our brain is wired towards the negative, towards a negativity bias, towards pessimism. And so these two things, the ingrained tension inside your body, the large tension inside your body, the knots inside your body, as well as that kind of like natural negativity bias that most of us all have, start to block our ability to receive. So the more you are at war or doing some kind of battle with your past or with something in your present, directly or in indirect ways, the more you are actually restricting your capacity to receive, and the more you are constricting like receivership pathways. Because, as I like to say, you can't create an abundant future. You can't create the future you desire by being at war with your present and with your past. So today what we're doing is we're diving in the entire process of ending the internal war, of easing and soothing the contractions, the chronic tension, the resistance that is held in your body, and turning fear and any kind of friction that we have into freedom. And we're doing that so that we can reopen the receiving pathways, and we can also increase our capacity to hold more with a lot more ease. So before I dive in, I want to take a minute, as I've been doing, to introduce myself in case you're new here, and to also like briefly mention this special that I have for March Money and Miracles. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm really glad to have you, to get to know you. I'm Ilsa. Feel free to say hi to me. Let me know where you're watching this from. I live in Boulder, Colorado with my husband and our 2 dogs. I am a total spiritual nerd, a bookworm. I really spend a lot of my time being a little bit of a hermit. I like to spend time alone and be in nature. And most of my weekends are literally spent with those 3 things. They're spent in nature, reading a book, hanging out with my dogs. Professionally, for the last 20 plus years, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and a strategist. I work mainly, although I work with all sorts of people, but I work mainly with high-level service providers and some degree of transformational leaders, people who know they're here to have some kind of big impact on the world, which, let's be honest, is really needed right now. There's a lot of friction. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of fear in the world. And I help them rewire their nervous system, their brain, their bodies, their beliefs, and their businesses for easeful growth, consistent results, recurring income, and just like a new, exciting, nourishing level of wealth and money in their life. Like if I had to say in one sentence what I help people do is I help them be more, create more, and receive more without second guessing themselves, without sabotaging themselves, without stressing out, without sacrificing what matters most to them. So if this calls you and you're interested in going deeper with this work, then I want to invite you to check out my somatic mastermind, the expansion experiment. Right now for March, it is at a significant discount. You can get started, like you're going to save up to $1,400, and you can get started as low as $144. It's an incredibly robust program in terms of shifting your neurology, your identity, as well as offering strategic pieces in how to create the life, the business, the wealth that you desire. So if you're interested in checking it out and seeing everything that's included, if you go in the description of this live, this training, you will see a Google Doc in there, and I've kept it really simple and just put everything in there. I believe in transparency, so you're going to see kind of the philosophical background. You're going to see exactly what's included, what you get, including the mini retreats, the one-on-one sessions with me, the different level that you can join at, and also the price. Everything is out there transparently. And if you want to hop on a call with me to either maybe you want more one-on-one and you would rather work with me one-on-one, or you have a couple questions, I've also included a link for us to have a 30-minute call. What I request from you is that you get on these calls only if you are in a position of joining and you're basically just about decided and you want to meet me or you have a couple questions. These are not calls for us to chat if you don't feel like I'm the right person for you, or if you know that right now is not the right time for you. Okay, let's get started. And I've mentioned this in a past training, but our energy and the way we feel always follows what's most alive for us in the moment. So essentially, that is why we get more of what we focus on and we get more of what we're currently experiencing. So if what you're currently experiencing is a lot of resistance, is a lot of constriction and contraction and tension, then unless you learn to release that pattern, you're literally going to get more of that because it's what your nervous system is used to. It's what your brain expects. So what a lot of us don't realize is that any kind of resistance essentially blocks your ability to receive. So if you're pushing against life in any way in your life, whether it's you're kind of at war with the neighbor's dogs who's barking, or you're having some resistance to the allergies that you're feeling, or you're feeling some tension and some constriction and some frustration against the lack of visibility or the lack of engagement on your social media, on your content, or maybe there's a family member that you're having a difficult time with, and so there's friction and you're resisting them in some way. It really doesn't matter what it is. Anytime, in any way whatsoever in your life or in your business, that you are pushing against something, that you are resisting something, that you are saying no to something, you are actually pushing away, resisting, and saying no to receivership, to abundance. Another way of saying this is anytime you say no to anything, you inadvertently say no to everything. Because what you're doing in that moment is you're teaching your system to operate from no. You're teaching your system to operate and to move through life from resistance, from bracing, from armoring, from pushing against, rather than going with. And receivership always emerges, expansion, receivership always emerges and is built upon yes, openness, spaciousness, leaned back energy. So a big part of the work that I do with clients and with myself, obviously, because by the way, all this shit is much easier said than done. Like I said at the beginning of this training, our brain, our evolutionary trajectory has wired us for a negativity bias. It's wired us to look for what's not working. It's wired us to look for what is a problem and to fight against it. That is probably why we're still here as a species. So all this to say, don't beat yourself up. We're all going through this at different levels, and you came by it honestly. Like, this is not a personal failures of yours. This was built in over thousands and millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. And it was also built in our collective, in our culture. We live in a culture of no. It's built into us, it's conditioned into us as children. So a big part of your work with this training today is to start to pay attention and to notice when in your life, in your business, you are closing, you are constricting, you are saying no and resisting something that is here. And start to play around with teaching your body to relax, with teaching your body to release the resistance and to come back to a place of openness, into a yes. And here's, like, a lot of people, I've heard this before from clients, be like, well, how does that work when somebody is like breaching your boundaries, or you're getting like treated unfairly or abused in some way? This isn't a teaching on, like, turn the other cheek. Saying no, holding your center, being in sovereignty, clarifying your standards is absolutely appropriate. You just don't want to do it from a place of constriction. Because remember, the seed always begets the fruit. So if you're saying no, if you're clarifying a boundary or a standard or a desire or a need with someone, and you're doing it from this place, you're doing it from constriction, you're doing it from resistance, what you're going to get is more of that. You're going to get more constriction, more resistance, more tension. So what you want to do is you want to get your body back into a place of openness, into a place of trust, into a place of spaciousness, of vastness, of willingness, of relaxation. And then from that place of yes, you're still saying yes to life. You're saying yes to yourself, essentially. You're saying yes to living a life you love. From this yes, you set boundaries. From this yes, you make a request. From this yes, you express a standard. So you can say no to someone from yes. And then that no will land from that sovereignty, from that place of expansion. Let me know in the comment if that makes sense. So what you're essentially claiming, what we're doing in part 3, in this concept of releasing resistance, is that you're essentially claiming and deciding within yourself, and you're choosing to be and live wide open from yes. You're deciding and you're choosing that nothing and no one is worth you being and living in and from contraction, in and from a place of being at war with, being in resistance to. So as we described in part 1 of this training, recalibrating your nervous system and your body for more receivership is actually about getting your body to be in a place of yes, and to start to feel safe saying yes to what you want, and to feel safe saying yes to more. Like, okay, not only what I want is safe, but more of what I want is safe. When you do that, when your body starts to learn to release the chronic tension, to release the resistance, and to start to open and say yes to what you want without fear, without sabotage, without, I don't know, without any kind of bracing against it, that's when you start to actually become a match for what you want. That's when there's no friction, there's no interference in the pathway, both of creating it and of receiving it. So you can't create a yes in your body. You can't teach your body how to be open, how to be in a space of willingness and welcoming, if the foundation and the original programming and essentially all of the ways that you have practiced over the years have coded your body towards no. Which is why so much of this work includes rewiring ourselves to feel deeply safe, rewiring ourselves to trust that we're supported, trust that we're protected, trust that things are going our way, even if we can't quite see it yet, because safety and trust is the foundation of relaxation. It's the foundation of your body, your mind, your brain, your nervous system starting to relax enough to start to open and to start to say yes. So what you're doing here in this part of the work is you're rewiring yourself and you're teaching the body to come out of armoring, to come out of saying no as almost like an automatic habit, and to start to feel safe with, to feel supported enough that you can open to almost anything, and you can start to say yes to being fully alive and fully present in your life so that you can thrive. So what you're doing at this level is you're bringing back into the body a sort of innate sense of flexibility and of spaciousness and receptivity to what is, no matter what. You're unhooking the habit of the brain and the body to judge what's happening and to be looking for problems and to kind of move through life from this sense of like it's not safe to be here and it's not safe to be open. And the first step to doing that, the first step to reteaching the body to be relaxed, to be willing, to be vast and boundless is, and this is super simple, but it's super powerful. And so that first step is to actually start to teach and help the body release chronic tension that is held inside you, in your muscles, in your body, and often in the tissues, even sometimes in the joint, like when we feel like stiff joints. Over the years, there's a study that I read a while back. Don't ask me where I read this, but there was a study that was done with newborns, looking at the amount of tension that was held in their psoas muscle. So when they were like within 24 hours of being born, they would check how much tension was in the newborn's psoas muscle, and the degree of tension in the psoas muscle like gave the researchers an idea of how easeful the pregnancy was, how much stress the mother was under, and how well the birth process actually went. So literally your body is a retainer of the trauma that you have experienced from the time you were in your mother's womb. And one might actually say that with epigenetics and the studies that have been shown, like your body is actually a recipient and a holder of your ancestors' trauma. That shit gets passed down as well, and it gets held in your cell, it gets held in your body in different ways. But for sure, your muscles, your tissues, your joints literally will hold any kind of wounding, any kind of disappointment, any kind of trauma, any kind of humiliation, any kind of feeling like you were rejected or you didn't belong or you were misunderstood, anything that felt hard, that felt impactful in a negative way throughout your life is literally held in your body, which means if you're human, you have chronic tension, and that chronic tension is literally like an armor in your body. It's like a moat, like those moats in those castles in Europe. Like you have literally like this bridge that's up, and you have like this big hole with water and alligators or whatever, so that things can't come into you. Silly metaphor, but you know what I mean. So what we're doing here is that we're trying to reclaim a sort of ease that we had, at least as children. So young children, if you notice, like, yeah, like there's tension in there. There's tension from birth, obviously, based on that study. But young children, like, they bend like pretzels. They haven't had enough like wounding and traumas and fear and disappointment come up to really start to impact their body. So they're very spacious, they're very flexible, they're wide open. Like a small child will literally, they won't sit on the couch like this. They'll sit on the couch like that with their legs spread, like taking space. A child knows how to take space because they feel spacious. We have lost that. And so we are reclaiming through this work an innate flexibility, vastness, boundlessness, openness, willingness that we have lost. And so that releasing of tension, that loosening of tension, and reteaching the body to relax and to become more spacious, although we're going to talk about that in the next part, increasing capacity. We're doing that simply by just allowing the body to start to relax. So your homework with this is to start to notice and become aware of where you're holding tension. Stomach, shoulders, throat. Like if you were to take like a scan of your body, notice what part of you feel very relaxed and vast and open, and where you feel like you have knots. And it feels heavy, it feels tight, it feels constricted. And just asking, getting curious, what is it that your body need, or this part of your body needs to start to loosen the constriction, the armoring, the resistance. And one that's going to be a little different for everybody. I've got a bunch of different practices that I give in my program, but sometimes it's as simple as moving more. It's as simple as putting your attention where you feel the constriction, putting a hand there, putting your attention there, and just breathing. And literally breathing and letting your body know with every breath, like you're sending love to this part of you. It's okay to relax. It's okay to unclench. It's okay to be at rest. It's okay to release the tension. So movement, literally laying down, relaxing your body, like melting the tension away, moving through your body, noticing where there's tension and releasing it. All of that will start to retrain your nervous system and your body to open and to stop holding on to all the things that have felt uncomfortable. What you're doing here as you teach the body to loosen the tension, to release the armoring and the resistance tangibly through the breath, through movement, through literally allowing the tension to melt and dissolve, is you're starting to undo the conditioning that one that's been passed down, but that you've been taught, which is that to stay safe in this world, you have to move and respond to most things from resistance. You have to be bracing against what is. And what you're starting to do here is you're starting to teach the body in a very somatic way that it is safe to be me and it is safe to be here. and that there is nothing, that I am bigger. Essentially, you're teaching your body that you are bigger, that you are vaster, that you are stronger and more spacious than just about anything that could come your way. When you learn to not resist life externally, you learn to catch your own judgment, to catch your own like nose to life, and to melt that, to dissolve that. And you learn to dissolve the tension and the armoring inside your body and to melt that, then you are in a state of non-resistance. And to not resist is to literally be at peace. And so, as we discussed earlier, any kind of resistance, any kind of no, any kind of bracing, even if it's your body tensing up because you don't like a song, or you don't like a particular smell, or maybe it's your body tensing up because you walk outside and it's really cold, or it's raining and you got to run to your car. Anytime you notice that your body is constricting in response to something external, catch it and release it. It's okay. It's okay to stay open even in that. It's okay to not contract even though it's cold, even though it's wet, even though that song is terrible, even though that smells is terrible. Like, remember how I say we're reclaiming some kind of innate flexibility that we had as young children? Like, if for most of us as children, even the cold, even the rain, even a really bad smell made us giggle. Like, our original design is to live and be in yes, to have fun, to play with whatever shows up, to welcome it and to play with it, to see what we can do with it. So that's the conditioning we are releasing somatically, and in the way we respond and are in relationship to life. We are releasing and dissolving a conditioning of no. Because tightening, fighting, resisting, fleeing, any kind of other kind of contraction is something that we've learned over time. And it is something that will literally essentially say to, like, it's sending a message to your brain, to your body, to the universe, if you believe in such things, that literally, I don't have the capacity for more in my life. And so we block receivership. So we block not only our ability to receive more of what we want, the quantity that we were talking about in part 2, but we also block our ability to enjoy our life, to feel good, to enjoy the process of creation and receiving, which is the quality of our receivership. I'm looking at my notes, see what else I want to say here. So when we do this, when we teach our mind and our brain to stop saying no to the outside world and to actually start to welcome life in, and to not brace and to not armor against it, when we teach our bodies to stop constricting, to stop contracting, to stop resisting and armoring against life, what we are literally doing is we are turning fear and friction into freedom. And that becomes both emotional freedom, because then nothing gets you. Like, if you know at a deep level that you are bigger, that you are more relaxed, that you are supported by life in such a way that there's nothing that you need to close against, that there's nothing you need to protect yourself against, that all of it is life and all of it is welcome, you're going to stop being at war with yourself, because all of you is going to be welcome, but you're going to stop being at war with everything else in life. That is emotional freedom. And then this turning fear and friction into freedom also starts to ripple into financial freedom. Because when you stop saying no and you start living and moving from yes and from openness and vastness and boundlessness, what happens is that opportunity starts showing up, creativity starts showing up, innovation starts showing up, clients start showing up, because you are moving through life from expansion. So you become extremely attractive and you become available for what was always there on the other side of that moat, waiting to come in, but you weren't allowing it in. So in many ways, this is a continuation of the pleasure pathway of part 2, because as you're releasing tension, you're releasing armoring, you're releasing resistance and this war that you have against life and against yourself, what you're doing is you're actually really saying yes to enjoyment and pleasure. They work together. It's part, releasing resistance is part of pleasure. So I'm going to share more practices with you in part 6. But what I want you to play with right now is with your mind, with awareness, notice when you are essentially judging yourself or judging life, where you are deciding something shouldn't be this way, something is a problem, and where you're saying no, you're pushing against, you're pushing back, you're armoring, you're resisting. And when you notice that you're doing that, make a conscious effort to essentially melt away, dissolve your resistance. And even ask yourself, okay, what does my mind, what do my parts need right now to feel safe saying yes to this, even this, to feel safe relaxing in this? And that's true whether it's you're going to the doctor to get blood work done and you freaking hate getting blood taken, or maybe you're having to walk to your car in freezing rain, or you're cleaning up poop or vomit that your dog like had an accident on the rug or something, got sick on the rug. Like, it doesn't really matter what it is. Ask yourself, what does my mind, what does my body, what do my parts need to say yes to even this, to feel safe and relaxed even in this? And then I want to invite you to do the physical aspect of it. Like, look for where there is chronic tension in your body and start to really play with relaxing that tension, spending some time in different areas of your body that are knotted up and breathing there, sending love there, sending a sense of safety and support to that part of you, so that slowly over time, through breaths, through movements, through self-love, your body starts to unwind and starts to relax and open and become flexible again. And again, you could ask, what does this part of my body need to release this tension and to start saying yes, to feel safe being relaxed, to feel safe being open, and follow what you get intuitively. Maybe what you need is a hot shower. Maybe what you need is to go for a long walk. Maybe what you need is that really slow yoga class at the rec center where you're going to do a bunch of stretching. Sense into what comes up that you feel would feel nourishing to that part of you and help that part of you starts to unwind that chronic tension that you're holding. All right, that's what I have for you. I will see you in part 4, where we're going to dive into capacity and taking more space. So as you're seeing, it's a continuation of this work. Once you release resistance, you're able to start taking more space, both tangibly and also from a place of identity. Because the bigger of a container you can become, the more capacity you have to receive and hold. So if this work is resonating with you and you want to go deeper, you want to have access to all the different practices, you want to work with me one-on-one, you want to have retreats where you're doing this practice in community, then I want to invite you to join the expansion experience for our March Money and Miracles special. And you can find the details of that. There's a Google Doc right in the description of this training. If you click on that, you'll get everything that's included. In this somatic embodied wealth mastermind, you receive weekly practices, and there are a bunch of different practices because here's the truth. You are a unique being. So some practices are going to work for you and some practices are not. What works for one person might not work at all for you. So the aim of this work is that I'm giving you enough different kind of practices that by the end, by the time you're ready to be complete with working with me, you will have a very unique custom toolbox of practices you can revisit for the entirety of your life whenever you need extra support. In the mastermind, we also, you get expansion lessons every month, multiple of them. There's a quantum curriculum to really dive a lot deeper into the process. And if you go in the Google Doc, I actually list the modules on there so you can really see what we're diving into. There's an entire library of practices, of trainings, of past retreats that I've done that you can dive into to shift your identity, to grow your business if you're an entrepreneur, and to create both that emotional as well as that financial freedom. There's a live component to this work. I believe strongly in working with people in direct time. So we meet 3 times a month to do an expansion mini retreat where we're practicing together, where we're going over the lessons together, where you get to ask questions and we get to tweak the process for you and to make sure that you're getting what you need. And there's also one-on-ones with me that are included at any of the levels. So if you go in the Google Doc, you will see everything there, including the price. With the special in March, you get to save, I think, over $1,400, up to over $1,400, depending on the level of support that you choose. And you can start with as low as $144. I would love to put my 20 years of experience to work for you and to essentially be your guide on this journey to expansion so that you can create results in your life, in your business, in a way that are going to nourish all of you, from your soul and your body all the way to your bank account. My goal in this mastermind, in the expansion experience, is to help you feel deeply safe with being more and having more. And for some of you, that might include really growing your business and creating a wildly profitable, super simple, stress-free business model that has recurring revenue, so you never have to worry about where money's coming from, and to set up the model in such a way that you actually have more freedom and white space to enjoy your life. And if that's what you're interested in, that's what you and I will focus on. For some of you, you have completely different goals. And here's the truth. Whatever your goals are, I will help you achieve them in resonance, in partnership with your nervous system and with your boundless body so that you can experience maximum flow, maximum freedom, maximum enjoyment, no matter what. Expansion, in whatever shape it takes, isn't just strategy. It's neurology and it's identity. When you and I work together, we work on all three. We figure out the right strategies that are truly aligned for you. we start to rewire your neurology and recalibrate your identity so that you are a match for what you want and you are able to create what you want without sabotage, without second guessing, without sacrificing what matters most or stressing out the entire process through. Some of my clients through this program have doubled, tripled, even quadrupled their prices, or what they were getting paid, have gone like raises and promotions, one after the other, from a place of ease, from a place of joy, feeling really anchored in a sense of confidence and conviction, so that everything comes easily and without any sense that they have to push or work hard for it. One of the things I hear often is a sense of waking up relaxed, having the best rest ever, feeling enthused first thing in the morning because people know exactly who they are and what they need to do today to move the needle without feeling overwhelmed, without second guessing themselves. I hear of people talking about how they've discovered themselves and they feel so safe being who they are at the most authentic level, that all the masks have dropped, all the resistance, all the posturing. And because of that new level of authenticity, their visibility has skyrocketed, their connection has 10x'd, their availability and ability to receive opportunities has gone up significantly. And one of the things that shows up a lot if you are an entrepreneur is because you're so clear about who you are and you're so authentic and people can finally see you and feel you, that your ideal clients know that you are for them right away. And all that friction of sales, all that friction of marketing starts to drop away. One of the other things you can expect from this program is that it will teach you how to move through anything that life throws at you, how to basically become impervious to all the different life dramas and to break free from the shit that drains you so that you can dissolve self-sabotage and you can liberate your growth, your joy, and your income. You're going to learn how to shift your mood, how to shift your energy, how to shift your state when you're in a place of contraction within minutes and come back to a place of expansion and peace and motivation, so that literally nothing takes you out. And in the end, what this work is about is creating high levels of safety, of play, of nourishment in your life, in your business, and in your receivership and wealth. So that's what we're going to focus on. And that is my wish for you. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter how you make your money. It doesn't matter whether you have a big impact that you want to leave as a legacy to the world or not. In the end, I want you to love your life. And I want you to love your business if you're an entrepreneur, and to essentially rewire yourself for that love, for that level of ease, for that level of effortlessness. So that is what we will work on. And if this resonates, then let's check out my program. Let's do some work together. Let's activate what I call your 7-figure nervous system and calibrate your body, your identity, and your business for the big life, the big impact, the big income that you desire. No sacrifice needed here. All right, that's what I got. You know where to look to get all the details. If you want to hop on a quick call, like you're pretty sure this is for you, you're okay with the price, you're ready to start now, but you have a couple questions, you want to connect with me before you press go, then book a call and let's have a 30-minute conversation.